Hello and welcome to Rolling with Reviews. I'm Will, and with me as always is the one who blinded me with robot science.
Sarah.
And today we're doing a review of Raising Robots. If you're curious about our two-player perspective and accessibility, check out our other video, Rolling with Two, Raising Robots. Sarah, tell us a bit about this game.
All right. In Raising Robots, the players are young inventors, assembling a wide range of useful robots. Each round, players simultaneously choose and perform two or more actions at variable power levels. Sometimes that power is shared amongst all players. Over the course of 8 rounds, players will create a tableau of robot cards, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. All right, Will, so why did we get this?
Well, we heard about it being a lot like Wingspan, and of course,
and a mix with
Race for the Galaxy. Of course, at that time we had just picked up Wormspan.
Yeah.
And we had everything for Wingspan, and we're like, no, that's too much similar game, so we passed on it.
Right.
However, later you did see reviews like a 3-minute board game, and it was just really great stuff about it. So you put it on the trade, and someone wanted Atlas Lost, so we traded for it.
Yep, that was a great way to get it too, because that game was not for us.
Yeah, and we got a deluxe edition.
And yes, and we got a nice deluxe edition of it. So, what do we like about the game? Well, that positive player interaction.
Yeah, it's always nice when you just do something and it has the potential, not for sure, but the potential of making something happen for everybody.
Right. And it's just a really neat way that they did it so that you have cards that could put cubes out on the main board, and if cubes go out there, then anybody can take that action even if they didn't actually pick it as one of their two phases that they wanted to do.
And you don't lose anything for putting that energy is still coming to you.
Right.
It just also goes to your opponents.
Yeah, it just makes the game more interesting, and you're more interested in what other people are doing. So you look over at the cards that they've got, and you're like, ooh, that card is going to put a cube on somewhere. Ooh, can I figure out what he might, pick to do this round? And if I can figure that out, so there's a lot of interesting ways that, you can try to capitalize on what other players are doing.
Yes.
Again, like you said, not always going to happen, but it's possible.
Also, cute robots.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Adorable.
So I was drawing cards for Will, and I start to read what they are, and I get totally distracted by the art, and he's like, I know the art's cute, but I need to know what it functions, what does it do, so I can continue to play the game, and you can describe the art later. I just keep getting distracted.
Yeah, and she's like, but it is a freezer with little things in it. Like, okay, that's nice. I can't use that for the game.
What does it do? Now. What does it do?
Yes.
We also really enjoy the tableau building and resource engine. It's a different take. So as much as we said it's similar to Wingspan and Wormspan, it does it in its own way. The cards are not as specific or reliant on each other like in Wingspan. Like it'll be like you have to draw a bird or put a bird under it that has a wingspan over this size. Here that's more generic, so it might be like this robot draws cards, and you get a different card that it wants to discard cards. So you can build a more generic engine building, but then they also could just work on their own. So if you only get the one that, draws cards, well, you could still use the cards.
Yes.
For other things.
Yes. It focused a lot more attention, less on the specifics of the card and more on just general resources.
Right.
So therefore it flowed a little smoother than what we've seen on Wingspan with certain abilities.
Yep, exactly. Also, it's got good accessibility. All the pieces are shaped, and that's if you get the retail with the cardboard bits or the deluxe edition with the wooden bits. They're all uniquely shaped. The iconography is really good. I think, like I pointed out in our Rolling with Two video, the only thing that might be an issue is orange and red pieces, but you keep all your colored pieces on your board. So it actually really doesn't matter if you do end up mixing them up. You just need markers on your board to do your things. It doesn't matter what color they are.
Right.
Oh, so talk about how we have the first edition.
Okay, so they did a Kickstarter for a new expansion, and in there they mentioned that one of the actions, which is design, has a printed ability. For 1 power, you can get a program, which is a resource. They found that wasn't powerful enough, so now the new version for second edition,
yeah.
and they'll have an upgrade pack for those who have the first edition, should be, if you have 1 power, you can have a choice between the 1 program resource or drawing a card.
And drawing cards is really important.
Very, very important.
So that we actually played one of our games with that option, even though we don't have the sticker, we just remember it. And it made a big difference in our games to be able to draw a card.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we did draw a card much more often than we did the programming.
Yeah, there might have been one instance where we got programming, but for the most part...
I think I did it twice.
Okay.
I think I did it twice, and you might have done it once.
I don't think I did it.
No.
No, I just get cards.
You need cards for so many things in the game, and programming, well, less so. And I think there's so many more cards that give you programming, so that was also the thing. Anyways, so you can, if you get a first edition and it just shows the programming icon and not with a card, then you can
get the upgrade pack.
Get the upgrade pack or just remember it yourself.
Yeah. Because I think they were also going to, either you can get a sticker or...
a token.
Or buy boards. But buying boards were...
Oh, no. I don't think they were going to allow you to buy a board because it's the whole player board. They were going to do a token that you would place over it like you do tokens for the inventors.
I thought they said $25 you can get 6 boards.
Oh, that's right. Well, they did that for the Kickstarter. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter's over. Okay. I can't guarantee that they're going to have that available. They did say they were going to have the upgrade pack available, which was going to be a sticker and a token.
Okay.
And the tokens are going to be just like like inventors have things that modify the board that you just place over the different spots. But yes, unfortunately for the last Kickstarter, and I don't remember when it ended, you can see if there's late pledging. Sometimes they do that to buy a new board, or boards, because you're right, it's for all the player boards.
Right.
Okay, so that covers everything that we like about the game. Let's talk a little bit about what we don't like. And that is the positive player interaction that we do like is just less at 2 players. It's not bad. They did a quasi-bot that tries to simulate a 3rd player, but it just doesn't feel like it would add as much energy to the board. It adds energy more consistently, but not necessarily feels like as much as it would be if it was an actual 3rd player. And then at higher player counts, you're going to have a lot more energy coming out on the board. And so...
Well, I'm not sure it would... I think it's more consistent than even a 3rd player, because sometimes we've had energy cards where we're not putting out any energy.
That's true. That's why I said it's more consistent.
Yes, it's more consistent. However, it's definitely going to be a lot less than a full 6-player count game.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just something to kind of be aware of if you tend to play at the lower player counts as well as higher player counts. There might be points where you might enjoy some of the aspects at a higher player count.
Right.
Class cards, we found the ones that required resources, because you have to have them at the end of the game, it can be really hard to maintain a certain level of resources because you need so many to just play the game. And so it just felt like it missed more than it hit, and just you felt kind of lucky whether it worked or not.
Yeah, because sometimes you can get all the robots you need to build an engine. It's just for those resource ones specifically, you weren't always guaranteed to see those robots to help you build that engine.
Right. So what we are probably going to house rule so you're supposed to only start with like 2 class cards, if I remember correctly. But if you draw 5 at the beginning, it is a little bit...
Well, you start with 1. You draw a couple, you keep 1, and then in the middle of the game, you draw 3 more and keep 1.
But at the middle of the game, it might already be too late to even actually act on any of the class cards that you get, which is frustrating when you can't and someone else can. So we've played other games that give you all these end game goal cards at the very beginning of the game, and then at the end of the game you just choose which ones you're going to fulfill. So that's where we felt, well, if you just draw all 5 cards, because you would draw 2 at the beginning of the game and 3 in the middle. Draw 5. It's a bit more cognitive overload, but you just keep them all by you. And then at the end of the game, just choose which 2 you're going to score. And then if you do end up doing, I think it was inspiration allowed you to get another one, you would draw 3 and just keep them until the end of the game. And then from all the cards you have, you would score 3.
Right.
So that just makes it, because there's a lot about this game that has much more strategic elements to it. And the class cards felt like they should be strategic, but they just felt random.
Yeah, you would always look at us like, well, that's a D.
Yeah, I'm like, there were, like the first game, I think I didn't score one of them. Even though I had it from the beginning of the game, I could not score on it because I didn't get the cards. Now, granted, that was the game we did not play with the card drawing as that.
For the design.
For the design.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, is a lot of them rely on you being able to get something very specific. And if you do not get that throughout the game, you can't do it. And so then it just, and it's significant points. It was a significant difference in scores, all because of those class cards.
Yeah. I never had a problem with class cards, but as Sarah would point out, that's because I always got lucky with the cards that came up when it came time for me getting class cards.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we'll probably house rule.
Yeah, again, it doesn't feel good for a game that is so complex, has so much strategy, and is so long. I don't mind if it's a short game where it just bad luck happens. But for something like this, that part didn't feel quite right. And then the last thing that we really just were frustrated about is there's no box insert. Everything's just in bags and just kind of fits. Now, people have made some box inserts. Of course, they just did a Kickstarter for a new expansion. So we're going to
wait till that comes out.
We're going to wait to make sure someone updates their 3D printed box insert before we get one. But that was just kind of disappointing for how much went into this game.
Yeah.
That there wasn't, I mean, it would have been really nice for like the player components, because that's what I saw is the 3D printed ones that here's all the player pieces for orange, here's, blue or whatever. And
that would be very handy.
Away you go. And it makes setup just much faster. So it's just a little more cumbersome now. Okay, let's talk about who this is for. It's for intermediate to hardcore gamers because it's heavy and complex.
Yeah, which is funny because if you look at the theme, we're kids making robots.
Though, I've seen more heavier games have lighter weight themes. And honestly, I like it because I don't need all my games to be serious. And I'm definitely tired of trading in the Mediterranean. So I'm good with the lighter themes, but it is misleading a little bit if you don't do your research about it.
Not as misleading as, say, the My Little Pony Adventures in Equestria deck building game.
Yeah.
That family is like, what is this? I don't know. And it's like, oh no, it's for bronies.
When you do an IP, you have to be careful with that.
Yes.
Also, I would say that those who did like Wingspan but wanted a bit more structure and wanted things to just, like I said, the tableau building, you wanted cards to be a little more, I don't know, work better because there's so much specificity in Wingspan. I think this is a good alternative.
In other words, you wanted an engine that could act like an engine rather than one that just worked it off of pure luck.
Right. So there's that. Okay, let's go over our ratings.
So for our ratings, we each get 1d6 worth of ratings. 1 is low, 6 is high. We give a number, a reason why, add them together, and see what it rolled for us. Sarah, what did Raising Robots roll for you?
It rolled a 5. This is a heavier game, so for me, unfortunately, it's probably going to be that Saturday afternoon game. But I really enjoyed everything that it did. It gave me a new experience. So even though I came into it expecting Wingspan with Race for the Galaxy, it wasn't either one of those games, nor even what I actually thought it would be combined. So it gave me that new experience, and an experience that I really like. I think the detractors are, I don't like how the class cards work according to the rules. So I'm looking forward to us actually trying it with our house rule. And then at the 2-player count, again, I want to be able to do just a little bit more in the game. So I wish more energy came out on the board. And I just think that would happen at higher player counts, but I don't see us playing it at higher player counts. So that's just minor quibbles. And then, like I said, being a Saturday afternoon type of game. So that's where it's a 5 for me. It's not quite perfect, but it is really good.
For me, it gets a 6.
Wow.
I like Wingspan. I like Wormspan. I like Race for the Galaxy. This works for my brain. I have more problems with the other games.
Yeah.
This gives me the right amount of structure, and even when it surprises me with a class, I'm like, oh, that just gives me a challenge to think around, and I feel I have better control and capability in this game than I do with those other games. So I'm less at the whim of the game and more at, well, it's because I didn't push hard enough, if that came to be the problem. So I like how this handles, and I really, really like the inventor cards. The inventor cards are a fascinating way of shaking things up, where one inventor may replace your entire energy cards, and you're playing with a different set than the other player. Or the one I played that Sarah might actually like is I do every single action, but I only do it at power 1, which is the lowest power. And so I have to overcome that with batteries and extra tricks. But I'm doing everything just at that very low level.
Right.
So even the inventor cards are neat because they have their own difficulties, but they make each game from game to game feel very fresh too.
Yeah, forgot about those inventor cards. Those do really, and I think that's where we need to explore more. And maybe at some point this would be a perfect 6 for me. But I think the other thing is, as much as we really obviously love Raising Robots, I don't think it's ever going to replace those other games.
No, it's still its own game, and it feels very different.
But I mean, we'll still play Wingspan and Wormspan. Well, we only play Race for the Galaxy digitally because that's a little overwhelming iconography.
I need a computer to tell me what those icons mean.
That's true. Me too.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to put it forth because people were worried. Oh, I already have all these other games.
That was the boat we were in.
That's the boat we were in. We were like, this is going to replace it. We have the huge box for Wingspan. Was that a bad investment? No. There are still points we're going to play Wingspan. There are things we still like about Wingspan. So we're not saying that.
Well, one of the things I really like about Wingspan and Wormspan is they are lighter experiences.
Yes, I can play those on a weeknight.
Yeah. So if we do have a need for something to be lighter, we have to move to that, and we can't rely on Raising Robots.
Right, exactly. So this is a new addition. It is similar, but it is not the same as those. So that is something where somebody's like, oh yeah, it's just these games. So if you already have those, you don't need that. Well, they know that might be true, but it might be one of those things, well, you should go try it. But I think this is its own game that is very solid and should be, I guess, judged on its own worth, which is the tricky part. Anytime you're like, oh, this game is like these other games.
Yeah. Well, I have that and I like that. So why do I need that?
This? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nope. Raising Robots is a, what are we at? 11
out of 12.
So really, really highly recommend.
Yes. All right, Sarah, and that'll do it for us.
Yes.
And Sarah,
what's
the best robot?
Oh God, I didn't look through the robots. I think they're all really adorable. Did I have a favorite?
I don't think so.
Every single one of them I saw, I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. They turned a vacuum cleaner into a thing. They turned a whatever, I can't even think of.
A refrigerator into a thing.
It's just the way they reimagined like everyday household things into robots. And well, we haven't gotten to this, but we are doing a video on the Pets expansion. So if I have any favorites, it's the ones from the Pets expansion.
Okay.
Because those are 110% adorable.
There you go. And we've been
Rolling with Reviews.
If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach out to us on the various social media platforms at
Rolling with Two, that's TWO. We're on Blue Sky, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Discord, we have a channel on Tabletop Express. Check the show notes for the invite link.
If you have time, check out the other content Nanaman has found for you, because remember, he's rolling with you.